Yes, Saurabh. What? How the juice?
हेलो सर।
How the juice?
सॉरी सर, समझ में नहीं आया सर।
How the juice?
सर, हाय सर।
और कैसा फील हो रहा है आपको? कब जा रहे हैं आप फ्लाइट से?
सर मैं कल 4:50 पे मेरा ट्रेन है, तो मैं उसी पे जा रहा हूँ। तो मतलब आज ही जाके कंफर्म करा है वो, तत्काल काटने के बाद।
सही है, बढ़िया है। और तैयारी होगी कंप्लीट?
सर किया हुआ अभी, और पता नहीं क्या होगा फिर। जो होगा देखा जाएगा सर, और तो और क्या करूँ फिर।
नहीं, बढ़िया है। आपने बहुत प्रैक्टिस की हुई है। कॉन्फिडेंस रखना बस। कॉन्फिडेंस रखना,
हाँ
कॉन्फिडेंस।
सर, वो तो बात सही है।
बाकी सब आपने
सर अभी अब तो अब आउट ऑफ स्टेशन थे ना, तो
आउट ऑफ स्टेशन
और
था। मैं आज
और
आया हूँ अभी 11 बजे मॉर्निंग, 11 AM।
तो सर तो सर और जो जितने भी बंदे थे उन लोगों का प्रैक्टिस नहीं हो पाया फिर।
नहीं, उनका पहले ही करा दिया ना मैंने। सबको
हाँ
करा रखा है, आपको भी तो करा रखा है। इतने सारे मौका आपके भी करा
सर,
रखे
नहीं वो मेरे 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 पहले सर, ऐसे कितना है अभी जो इंटरव्यू देने के लिए जा रहे हो आपके पास पे, जो मतलब इंटरव्यू दिए है ना, मैक्सिमम
हैं।
नंबर कितना,
तो बना है
मतलब
ना,
कौन सी है?
जो ग्रुप बना है ना, वो सब जुड़े हुए, सबका प्रैक्टिस करा थी। उसमें से एक दो लोग नहीं है, शायद दो तीन लोग नहीं है। मतलब जिन्होंने मॉक नहीं, बाकी वो अदर कोर्स में जुड़े हुए हैं। तो वो सब हमारे यहीं के ही है। बाकी के लोगों को मैं ऐड क्यों करूंगा, क्या पर्पज?
नहीं मैं ये नहीं सर, मैं यही मतलब मैं यही बोलना चाह रहा हूँ कि अभी मतलब एससी कैटेगरी पे सर मैक्सिमम मार्क्स कितना है जो इंटरव्यू
कोई
देने के लिए जा रहे हैं?
इंटरव्यू, सुब्रतम मंडल और वो आपके वो तनुश्री, जो एक शाह नाम की लड़की है, वो है सेकंड रैंक। और कौन है?
उन
और
लोगों का सर कितना कितना मार्क्स आया है सर, पता है आपको?
हाँ, बताता हूँ आपको। आप जो मार्क्स बोल रहे थे ना, देखो मैं अभी बताता हूँ। एससी कैटेगरी के मार्क्स अभी बताता हूँ। देखो, सुब्रता मंडल है 116 मार्क्स हैं इसके। तनुश्री शाह एक सौ
अच्छा
चौदह मार्क्स हैं, ठीक है। सालू सिंह 112 मार्क्स हैं। और 112 इसके शुभादीप दास है। इसके 11 है, आपके 10 है। ठीक है।
सर, जो 116 है जिसका, वो तो जीएसआई पे उसको मिल गया तो।
हाँ, उसको जीएसआई मिल गया है, लेकिन पता नहीं वो जाने जा रहा है कि नहीं जा रहा है, ये पता नहीं ना।
अच्छा अच्छा।
अगर वो नहीं जाएगा तो बेनिफिट होगा। और नीचे सपना है, उसके 108 है, जो मुझसे जुड़े हुए हैं। बाकी लोगों के कम मार्क्स। बाकी देखो, 106 है तो 103 हो गए। हाँ, 104 के सब।
106 सर लास्ट है, 106 लास्ट।
नहीं, लास्ट 105 है।
अच्छा अच्छा।
तो आपका जो नंबर है, आपका नंबर है 1 2 3 4 5 नंबर है आपका, ठीक है। अगर फर्स्ट रैंक वाला नहीं जाएगा तो 4 नंबर आ जाएगा, लेकिन वैकेंसी एससी की ओनली 2 वैकेंसी। ये तो इंटरव्यू जो अच्छा देगा वही अंदर करेगा, वही मैं आपको बोल चुका
ठीक है सर।
हूँ। लेट मी स्टार्ट। बेसिक इंट्रोड्यूस योरसेल्फ।
Thank you for giving me to opportunity to introduce myself. I am Soramandal from Sc-CHEMISTry-HARYANA, West Bengal. I did my schooling from West Bengal Board of Education, and after I have completed my graduation in chemistry honors from under University of Calcutta, and I have completed my post graduation in chemistry under IIT ISM Dhanbad. After completing my MSc, I prepared for various examination, and I prepared for PSU and GS, scientific post examination. And within this period, I also prepared a NET and GATE examination, and I also qualified both the NET and GATE exam. And I was awarded NET JRF, and I qualified NET exam for 2 times. And now I am doing PhD from Jadavpur University in synthetic organic chemistry. And within this period, I already published two of my research paper in a reputed journal. At the same time, I like martial art, and obviously this is my hobby. I also practice martial art, and as my strong point, I think I am good at what I do. At the same time, I am mentally and physically strong person, and I think as my weak point, I am a little bit overthinker. Thank you.
Yes, good. Your name is Saurabh. What the meaning of your name? Describe.
Sir, the meaning of Saurabh is aroma. That means sweet smell.
Yes, what the strength and weakness?
As I told earlier that I never break down easily. Actually, I am mentally and physically strong person, and yes, I may fail sometime, but failure can't stop me. Mm, Failure never stop me, and as my weak point, I think I am little bit overthinker.
Yes, good. And next one, you have lot of exams qualified in CSIR, GATE, any other. Yes, what the main purpose of these exams in our education system?
Generally, GATE exam and CSR exam, these two exam conducted by two different bodies. GATE exam generally comes under MHRT, and this exam conducted by IITs. And actually, this is a aptitude test of our subject, and if you qualified this exam, you may have some scope to join any PSU if you get a good rank. Otherwise, you may pursue PhD. And obviously, if you join PhD through GATE, then you will get some fellowship. And on the other point, CSI NET is a different exam, but obviously a chemistry student can also appear in this exam. And if you qualified this exam give you opportunity to pursue PhD in university, and obviously you have your own fellowship, and you will get a decent amount of fellowship along with your degree.
Yes, good. Next, move on your native place, your district and state. Yes. Which one is South 84? Both one are. Yes. How do you feel about your district?
Sir, West Bengal, South 24 Pargana, actually, 24 Pargana was undivided, but later it divided into North and South. Uh, Now, these two Pargana is totally flat area, and obviously a lot of cultivated area. South 24 Pargana and North 24 Pargana covered total cultivated area, and in South Chabis Pargana, you can find a lot of tourist spot, especially our seventh wonder Sundarban also present here. And at the same time, if you want to visit various places like various sea beach like Henry Island, then Bokhali, then there are a lot of sea beach also present here. एक्चुअली कभी कभार बोला जाता है सर बंगाल का खाड़ी, तो बंगाल का जो खाड़ी
Yeah,
बोला जाता है
Bengal.
वो जनरली साउथ 24 परगना के बोला जाता है सर.
Yes, what the role of your district in West Bengal?
Generally, South Chabis Pargana contains a huge amount of population, and as South Chabis Pargana is a cultivated area, so South Chabis Pargana produced a huge amount of crops and as well as vegetables. So South Chabis Pargana generally at the same time as there are some small and big river across you can find some small and big river across South Chabis Pargana, so that's why you can find some industrial area also in here. So obviously South Chabis Pargana mm, uh, contribute a major portion of economy in West Bengal.
Yes, good. Yeah, what's your favorite place in your district? South 84 was one of.
Sorry, sir.
What's your favorite place in your district?
So obviously, Sundarban area favorite place in my district.
Yes, good. Next is West Bengal. How do you feel about West Bengal?
Uh,
What the history of West Bengal?
Actually, if you look back to 200 years ago, then obviously 200, sorry sir, 200, no, it's like 250 years ago. Then you can find that Fort William, and as well as you can read about the history of Britishers. Actually, Britishers first came here, and just uh, they just established some industry hub. First established their industry hub in Kolkata, and then they started to rule India, starting from in Kolkata. And Kolkata, not only in Kolkata but also in Dhaka area. So they are also undivided Bengal area. Kolkata, South Chabis sorry, West Bengal, Bangladesh, and Odisha, Bihar. So this area is known as Banga area. So generally, our Britishers started their actually, sir, Britishers they started their sorry sir, थोड़ा ये हो गया sir.
Okay, look them, no problem. Next, what the role of West Bengal in our country? Political, economical, physical, geographical, cultural.
Generally, after independence or before independence, West Bengal generally contributed nearly 10% of GDP, or overall 10% of GDP in India. But after independence, West Bengal downfall of West Bengal started due to some political reason, and obviously there's a certain reason also there, and now West Bengal contribute nearly 3.5% of their GDP in whole India. So this is the economic perspective of West Bengal, and in the case of political perspective, West Bengal ruled by a Trinamool Congress political party. So um, this is not a national party. So obviously, um, in some Lok Sabha election, you can see that West Bengal have some role to form government or to do a good opposition role in central.
Yes, good. Next is, what's your favorite place in your state, West Bengal?
Generally, Sundarban area, a good area. Actually, uh, one word like Dipuda, it called Dipuda. That means Darjeeling, Puri, and Digha. So Puri is now out of West Bengal. This is situated in Odisha. So Digha and Darjeeling area, obviously, मुझे तो बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं.
Yes, good. Next, move on laboratory. What the main application of laboratory? What the safety rule of laboratory?
Laboratory generally used to detect and analyze chemicals. Not only chemicals, there are certain kind of laboratory. If you go for pathology laboratory, so actually, laboratory is a area where you can perform some experiment and you can get some result. In the field of chemistry, you can perform any analysis as well as any application. So on the basis of this, you can do some report that if this radical present or not, or if you have the total amount of chemical present in the analyte. So that's it. That means you can analyze qualitatively, quantitatively.
Yes. First is basic is qualitative quantitative analysis. What is the difference?
In qualitative analysis, generally, you can only detect any basic or acid radical, only just detection. But in the case of quantitative analysis, you can just estimate the total amount of present in the given analyte.
Yes. Qualitative analysis, basic point is elemental analysis. What is elemental analysis?
Elemental analysis means only any metal or any species like any anion or cation radical, only just one species. That means it may be cation, it may be a anion. So elemental analysis means only this, only element analysis.
Yes, basic point is how to prepare Lassine sodium extract solution या Lassine solution. How to make it?
Actually, Lassine test performed when you have a organic compound. So in the case of nitrogen, nitrogen, carbon, and halide, these three, yes, yes, these three element can be analyzed by Lassine test because in organic compound they are bonded with covalent bond, so they can't easily ionize. They can't ionize easily. So that's why we need to mixed with sodium metal, and at the same time we have to use uh, base like sodium hydroxide, and we need to heat it up in a aluminum foil or fusion tube. So by this method, we just convert this whole organic covalent bond to ionic bond, and then we can take the extract of the reaction mixer, and we can perform our reaction, and that's it. If we perform a respective reaction, then we can get their we can just identify what element present in the reaction mixer. It may be sulfur, it may be nitrogen, or it may be any halogen.
Yes, good. What is functional group? How to detect functional group in a lab? Like carbohydrate, aldehyde, ketone.
Every functional group have its own characteristic method to identify. Like if you want to characterize, if you want to detect any test, two for DNP test, two for dinitrophenyl hydrogen test or Brody reagent. And sir, which functional group? Can you say again, sir?
Carbohydrate, aldehyde, ketone.
Hmm. So, and in the case of carbohydrate also give positive response in Stollen's and Felling's test also. But in the case of disaccharide carbohydrate, they are non-reducing sugar and they generally do positive result in the case of Tollens and Felling's reagent or Felling's test.
Yes. Next, move on. Gravimetric analysis. What is gravimetric analysis?
Gravimetry analysis is the process where our desired species is converted to a definite converted to a species where we generally use a ligand which is bind with metal center and it forms a new type of compound and then this compound is separated from the reaction mixer and dried, and we take weight of this compound. And from this compound, we can get our desired species molecular weight.
Yes. Next is volumetric analysis. What is volumetric analysis?
Volumetric analysis here, the given analyte is titrated against any known strength, uh, any known against. Sorry, sir, can you say the question again?
What is volumetric analysis? The first one is titration. What is titration and how many type of titration?
There are different kind of titration like redox titration, acidimetry, alkalimetry titration, and as well as if you go physical portion, then you can find conductometry titration, potentiometry titration. So generally, in this case, we titrate any acid against any base, or in the case of redox titration, we titrate any reducing agent against any oxidizing agent. So obviously, in the case of redox titration or acidimetry or alkalimetry titration, we use indicator, but in the case of potentiometry or conductometry titration, the redox indicator is not required. Any indicator is not required, sir.
Yes. What is indicator and how many type of indicator?
Generally, indicator just indicate the endpoint or equivalent point of the reaction of the titration. So, what is happen when you titrate any reaction, any when you titrate any given analyte with any known species or known concentration of species, then there is a point where the species one is totally consumed by species two, but we need to visualize or we need to visualize this change, and to visualize this change we need some species which may take participate on that process when only when the species total only when the species one is totally consumed by species two. So this is so this is the role of indicator.
Yes. Good. Yes. Titration is three types: acid-base titration, redox titration, complexometry titration, EDTA titration. Yes. What are the differences of these one?
In the case of acid-base titration, generally, a acid is titrated against a base. That, as for example, uh, oxalic acid may be taken as a example. So, oxalic acid can be titrated against any strong base or weak base. So, strong in the case of strong base, we may titrate it against NaOH. So this is the example of a weak acid versus strong base titration, and in this case, we can take phenylephthaline as an indicator. In the case of redox titration, any oxidizing agent can be titrated against any reducing agent, and in this case, we use any redox indicator. So, as for example, we may titrate iodine in presence of potassium permanganate, and in this case, we use BDS as an indicator. And in the case for the complexity titration, here the given analyte is titrate against EDTA solution, and in this case, we need to we generally use uh, indicator at pH 8 to 10, and the indicator is EBT. Generally, EBT indicator or pattern reader indicator or HHS in a indicator can be used in complex nitrate titration.
Yes, good. Next, move on instrumental analysis. What is instrumental analysis?
There are some process or some reaction which we can't do or titrate against any other chemical species because there are certain limitation. There may be we can't have a specific indicator, so or as well as uh, with reaction we can't we can't get any idea about the composition of the reaction. Then we can do this type of analysis. So in this case, only we with the help of instrument we can decide our desired observation, and only as the experiment is completed with instrument. So obviously, this experiment is known as instrument analysis. And as for example, same TEM, XRD are some example of instrument analysis.
Yes. Next is instrumental analysis is chromatography. What is the main application of chromatography and how many type of chromatography?
Generally, chromatography is the combination of two words. Chrome means color and graphy means write. So in the case of chromatography, we generally identify or generally separate to different a mixture of chemical by their color. So there are certain type of chromatography technique like TLC, column chromatography, ion exchange chromatography, preparative chromatography. So these are some example of chromatography.
Yes. What the basic difference between thin layer chromatography and gas liquid chromatography?
In the case of thin layer chromatography, here a fine silica particle is set against any aluminum or plastic foil, and then we generally just run a, we generally run a uh, mm, we generally run a solvent mixer and and the mixer and the chemical mixer present on that TLC paper is separated along with their polarity, and by this if we when we just when we just take that TLC paper to iodine chamber, then we can see the different type of when we see UV active molecule and UV active spot, and from this spot we can identify that this spot may be for this particular compound. But in the case of gas chromatography, here the given analyte is converted to gaseous species, and this gaseous species then allowed to run through a column present in the gas chromatography machine setup, and then we can see a graph in our computer monitor, and from this graph we can identify the uh, we can identify the mass spectra of the particular compound, and as well as we can also calculate, or we can also determine the percentage of conversion of the given reaction at the same time.
Yes, good. Next is flame photometry. First is what is flame test? Which metals show in flame test in periodic table? How many metal present in periodic?
Generally,
They are.
alkaline metal show flame test in periodic table, and actually I have only a little uh, mm, little I know only little about the flame photometry, so I don't have too much idea about this.
The next is what the basic difference between EAS, atomic absorption spectroscopy, atomic emission spectroscopy, and ICP, inductivity plasma spectroscopy. What are the differences of these?
In this case, when we place our desired element to a um, mm, flame, then the atom absorb energy, and it excited to its higher energy state. And as the atom absorb energy, so due to this, we observe some uh, or we visible some spectra. So obviously this is known as atomic absorption spectroscopy. And at the same time, when the excited atom release energy, and it also revert to its original ground state position, then the released energy also show spectra, and this spectra is known as atomic emission spectroscopy. Inductive coupled spectroscopy here. Sorry, I don't know, sir, about this inductive coupled spectroscopy.
Next is UV visible spectroscopy. What the main application of UV visible? Basic principle.
Generally, UV visible is the region which we can observe by a naked eye, generally visible portion. So generally, when any ligand or any material interact with other material, then UV visible spectra can give us idea about this chemistry. So when only a free atom or free element or free ligand is there, we have a UV spectra, and each of every time this UV spectra will be the same. But when we mixed this atom or ligand with any other chemical species, uh, there may change in its UV visual spectra. So from this property, we can say that this particular chemical species may interact with this incoming chemical species. So obviously they may have some interaction. So this kind of observation or this kind of experiment can be performed through UV visual spectroscopy. At the same time, UV visual spectroscopy we can apply to do jobs plot. From this jobs plot, we can give an idea about the coordination number of a ligand to a metal center. If it is bind with this metal is 1:2 or 1:4 passion, 1:4 ratio or something like that.
Yes, good. The drawback limitation of VL-Lambert law.
The general drawback is the Beer-Lambert law is we can't uh, we never do this experiment with highly concentrate solution. At the same time, the Lambert-Beard law can't be applied when the molecules or when the given species is associated or dissociated. In this case, Lambert-Beard law can't give us a good result.
Yes, good. Next is X-ray diffraction. What is X-ray diffraction?
X-ray diffraction, generally X-ray diffraction used to determine the general structure of a complex. So in this case, generally the single crystal XRT is taken, and single crystal a good and healthily single crystal can is uh, मतलब एक सिंगल क्रिस्टल लेने के बाद सर उसे हम XRT जहाँ पर किया जाता है वही सेंटर पे हम सेट कर देते हैं। फिर जब हम एक्सरे बीम जब उसके ऊपर जब हम अलाउ कर देते हैं फ्लो करने के लिए, देन we observe some diffraction pattern, and from this diffraction pattern we can uh, we can get their actual structure if it is uh, uh, and also their coordination. We can also get idea about their coordination number.
Yes, good. Next is Vrax law. Vrax law in solid X-ray diffraction.
The mathematical expression of Bragg is n lambda equal to 2d sine theta, where n lambda the theta is the angle between the incident ray and diffracted ray, and n is the and D is the distance between two successive plane, and N is the total successive plane present in the crystal.
Yes, good. Today is overall good answer from your side. Yes. नेक्स्ट डे हम न्यू डिस्कस करेंगे। नेक्स्ट डे आप जुड़ सकते हैं 4 PM से पहले, आपका अगर टाइम है तो 12 बजे 1 बजे।
सर 12 बजे के आसपास कर सकते हो सर।
यस, नेक्स्ट डे हम ज्वाइन कर लेना, बता दूंगा
सर
आपको।
कहाँ पर काम करना जरूरी हो, अभी का प्रॉब्लम कहाँ पे हो रहा है एक बार बोल दीजिए।